And we are live. Good morning, not good morning. I will say good afternoon, Mr. Nathan Tasker, or Sir Nathan Tasker. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, very good. Thank you very much. And even this afternoon. Based in the UK. So yeah, got through some of the day already and looking forward to this presentation today.
This is great. So without any fuss, I'm going to let you do your magic, and I will see you practically in 35 minutes. Is that okay?
Amazing.
With you? Great.
Thank you very much, Sylvie.
See you soon.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon or good evening or good morning, depending on where you are in the country or in the world even. My name's Nathan Tasker. I'm founder of Stratton IQ, which is a specialist organisation working in programme rescue, building confidence and delivery, and helping leaders turn transformation into impact and intent and transformation. I've built up this experience across a wide range of clients across the UK and globally, including Trainline, ASOS, De Beers, BAT and IBM. And I'm currently consulting with Coca-Cola on their global digital and SAP transformation, which is rolling out over the next few years across Europe and Asia Pac. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the hardest currencies in transformation, executive confidence. And we will discuss some of the techniques and tools I use on a regular basis, which have been built up over a number of years' experience and through tough conversations. I honestly don't get this right all the time and have struggled at some point in time, walking into conversations with execs, thinking I've got a really great plan, and then discovering that things haven't quite gone as I expected them to. Came out scratching my head. And so I've adjusted my approaches, I've fine-tuned things, and now what we're going to discuss today is a few tools and techniques that I use. But before we get started, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Why do you think gaining executive confidence is so important? Could you put a few suggestions in the chat window as to why you think this is so important at this moment in time? That'd be great and will help to seed in the conversation. Just give you a minute or so. Doesn't look like we've got anything coming through on the chat at the moment. Okay, so the chat's not livening up at the moment. So let me tell you about why I think exec confidence is so important in what we do as PMO leaders. I can summarize this really quickly by there is more risk and more at stake than ever before. We're asking executives to fund more transformation with faster and fewer guarantees of success. We all know that statistic, about 70% of transformation programs fail. Thank you for that one, McKinsey. That's being used a lot at the moment. But we also know that 11 or 12% of investment is wasted. And the shocking statistic here is that only 30% of C-levels see alignment between the change that has been delivered through business or technology transformation into the outcomes that the business really needs. Then on the positive side, we can start to see some upturn here, which is actually that 63% of execs are reporting gains from digital transformation initiatives when they land successfully, and that the amount of investment in the future in transformation initiatives which PMO leaders will help to drive is increasing by nearly 25% by the end of 2030. And it's getting hard to deliver. It's incredibly hard to be successful. Technology landscapes are increasing in complexity. There's legacy everywhere. There are SMEs in the business who are distracted and doing a lot more work, and there's a lot less SMEs than there were previously when I started work. And it's harder than ever to stop programs when they are going bad, because expectations, politics, and wasted investments mean it's so hard to make that decision. But the good news is the PMO can help. And here's what the PMOs can do. PMO's no longer just police process. That's not where the value lies. Executives don't want any more reporting. They want confidence. They want clarity. They want credibility, and they want to build connection with the teams that are delivering the change that really, really matters to them. That means we have to partner and sometimes challenge, and that can be really, really hard. When executive confidence falters, delivery slows, investment dries up, and the PMO loses influence. To win back confidence, PMOs must evolve from controllers of process to partners in outcome. Through alignment, transparency, and leadership, PMOs can build trust, one delivery milestone, one honest conversation, and one piece of delivery and measured success at a time. The future-ready PMO isn't just a cost center, it's the confidence engine of the enterprise going forward. So now going through into some of my tips and techniques that I have used. One of the biggest areas where confidence erosion is happening is when execs' goals, program goals, and team goals aren't connected. And what I use is a simple hierarchy that I've used with a number of clients and permanent roles, which align those strategic goals all the way down to the team activities. This I call establishing the golden thread from the work we do to the strategy. And I know through experience that when everyone can see how their work ladders up to the exec commitments, then confidence soars and trust is built. And this is the tool that I use. It's a simple hierarchy starting at the very top. And I'll just say this is using some real world examples which have been slightly desensitized. So at the very top, you have your strategic goals, and these are the things that the exec have committed to. There's obviously going to be about 4 or 5 of those in most major businesses, but this is just a slice of one of them. Then sitting underneath the strategic goals, we have portfolio level goals, and those are the buckets of investment that are needed to deliver the strategic goals. They have goals themselves. So it says how much money and how much resource are we going to need to deliver on an increase in customers by 40%. So it helps you with your strategic planning. Then underneath that, we have program and project goals and product goals. So these are the activities that you're committing to deliver on and will drive ultimately up to the strategic goal. Once you've built out this framework, I then put in place monthly business reviews with the exec and with the senior leadership to review how we are going against delivering, in this instance, AI travel and how that helps us to deliver flexible pricing, and doing that in a measured way, and what impact that is then having in this case in increasing the number of repeat customers. So they have a regular touch point with you on a monthly basis, understanding how the work that we are chaperoning through as PMO leaders into their strategic goals and how their investment is actually being spent and really leveraged. On a yearly planning basis, I also use this tool to help people plan the activities that they're going to do on a yearly basis. Again, I work with the exec to start planning out top level strategies that they are going to want to achieve, breaking that then down into the portfolio level goals and investments that are going to be needed, and then down into the activities, the programs, the projects, and the product goals that our teams are going to be working on. And in some places, I've actually taken that right down to the next level, is on our finite resources. So the people that work for us, how many resources are we actually going to deploy against some of the strategic initiatives? So it helps with a bottomed up and a top down approach to strategic planning and aligning the work that we're doing. I wonder, as I'm sat here now, how many of you can trace the work that your team's goals are doing back up to your strategic commitments that you have made today. If you can't do that, maybe have a look at using this tool. It can be very, very useful. The second tool is being the early warning system. When confidence breaks down, it's rarely sudden. There are always early warning signs. In the model which I'm going to talk you through now, I have 5 of them, and these are the smoke signals that go out and you should be watching for when you are leading programs. And the smoke signals cover off a wide variety of things. So at the top there, we can see outcomes have become outputs. So that's when your program teams lose sight of the outcomes. Again, just reflecting back on the previous slides and the hierarchy that I described there, have they stopped talking about how they're achieving the strategic goals and portfolio goals? And are they starting to focus more on delivering pieces of software or delivering a process change and reporting on things done rather than outcomes achieved? If something's going wrong as well, I often experience that stakeholder alignment is broken. Your stakeholders become very noisy. They start asking difficult questions. They start voicing that they're not convinced that perhaps the ROI of the program is going to be delivered, or they're actually pulling back on some commitments that they have made. This all means that you need to lean in to solve your stakeholder alignment. And then the other one is your delivery rhythm is lost. So if your program is not delivering against its plan, if it's missing milestones, if it's constantly having to rebaseline what it's doing, that's a great and very common indicator for something going badly wrong within your program. And then there's a couple of other at the bottom here. The demoralized team. Do not underestimate the impact of a hard program which is failing on your teams. If you spot that your team is demoralized, that's something that is a great warning signal for things going wrong and it just getting too tough to deliver. And then finally, is your data missing? So in this instance, are maybe your project reports not being completed correctly? Are the progress reports against your outcomes not being delivered correctly? Is there a little bit of smoke and mirrors around how the data is being presented to try and present a rosy picture as to how things are going? Again, another great smoke signal. And of course, you have a whole bunch of recovery levers. So I've listed out here 5 that I use on a regular basis. Reframe the business outcomes. Look at the ROI and make sure that it is lined up correctly, and restate what the outcomes of this program are now going to be if scope has changed, for instance. Re-engage the board and the exec fast. They will know something is going on anyway, because they have their eyes and ears to the ground, and they will hear things going around in their stakeholder groups. So get out there and have a conversation with them quickly and tell them what you're doing to solve the problems before they start presenting problems back to you. And of course, rebuild delivery rhythm, re-engage your teams. So that could be even doing things such as going out and doing team building activities, having a beer after work, etc. if that's your thing. Many different tools that you can use to help you there. But often the one that I find I need to do when the program is in serious trouble is actually to replace some key members of the team. Sometimes they're so de-energized, so demoralized in the program that actually you just need to swap them out. And that can be a very positive experience for them because they get a new life elsewhere. And then we bring in new blood into the program that can help to drive it forward correctly. And of course, that can be very much easier when you're using system integrators or third parties who can help you, and you can swap around with their teams because they get bogged down in unsuccessful programs as well. And finally, drive data transparency. So that's making sure that your reporting is happening, making sure you're understanding where you are against your outcomes, and everything is built on trusted and honest and open data. If you do this, then I hope you will start to see trust in your programs improving. I've learned this through a number of hard programs that I've run before, which have failed and I've had to recover. And this case study is a very brief case study about one that I was involved in recently, where there was a very large program to deliver a workforce management innovative solution. And it was a multi-year program. It originally said it would be running for about 3 years and would have about a £40 million budget. And by the time I came into role, it was already starting to overrun, and they were looking at a £60 million budget. And we had a lack of confidence in delivery. All of the smoke signals which I discussed before were going up, they just hadn't been recognised, and we needed to do something about it. And most importantly, the exec had lost confidence or trust in us actually being able to deliver. So I was about 4 months into the role at the time, and I went in for one of my monthly business reviews with the CEO, and he looked at me in the eye and he said, "Nathan, how do I know that in 4 months' time you're not going to be coming back asking for yet more money and more time to deliver an increasingly small amount of scope?" And that was a really good question. Now, luckily, I'd actually done some work beforehand to prepare myself for this question. And what I'd done is I'd completed an end-to-end review of the program. But I didn't just do it by myself. I brought in an independent third-party assurance company to come in and have a look at that program for me, and do that end-to-end review and find out where the main problems are, what were the levers that we can pull to start resolving it, and to help build out a new incredible plan, which we could then present back to the exec. So I explained to the CEO what I had done, the process I had followed, the findings of the third-party assurance team, and I asked them only for incremental funding to get through the next relatively small phase. If we could do that, I said, and prove that we can actually turn around this delivery and get it back on track, can I have the opportunity to come back and ask for further full funding? The answer was yes. And the good news at the end of this story, as you would expect, is the plan played through. We delivered that next phase of work. We then got the opportunity to go back with more confidence and ask for full funding. And then through the interventions that we put in place, we were able to deliver and close out that program within a year. And now it's up and running. So a good success story there. The next tip that I have is help exec to make the right decision. Executives love clarity and being able to make quickly the right decision. And to do this, I have a really, really simple tool, and you'll have all seen it before, but often I've not seen it used. And so I try to bring it out as much as I can in the work that I do. And that tool is simply an options paper, which clearly describes and outlines the problem, defines 3 solutions to that problem, covering off what the pros and cons and the cost of doing it are, and the impacts of making those decisions are, and making a really clear recommendation. Now that makes it really simple for the exec to come in and actually have a look and say, do we think we actually agree with this recommendation, and to debate it in a really balanced way. So that's one thing that helps you gain trust. But the other thing that happens is underneath this is asking your teams to build out that options paper is actually a really good exercise in them starting to understand what they need to do to deliver and solve the problem, and what the options are. Too often I go in and find that actually when asking for this options paper to be developed, they've only just got one view and one solution. And that often, by the end of the time of going through this process, that isn't actually the solution that they recommend in the end anyway. They just hadn't done the analysis. So by using this options paper, and by making sure that we take a recommendation, a really clear recommendation to our teams, to our exec, this basically means that everybody is lined up top to bottom on what those options are, and the decision is really easy and can be made quite quickly. If you don't do this, you'll end up with delayed decisions that ultimately slow down the program and reduce the exec confidence in what you're doing. My next tip is keep things simple. With so much going on in the exec's mind, the PMO's role is really to keep things simple and clarify and communicate. And when running a multi-year, multifaceted program, it's too easy for everyone, including the PMO, to get stuck in the detail and assume that everyone has the same level of understanding as you do. Too often have I sat in presentations of 40 or 50 line Gantt charts and plans, expecting the exec to be able to interpret out of that what it means, what decisions are there, and where the areas of risk are. We shouldn't be asking the exec to do that. They often come to the wrong conclusion if you do, for a start. And so the tool that I use for this is something called the critical path tool. And it's really, really simple. It's take the major outcomes and transition states and decision points for your program and lay it out in a simple chart such as this, describing how you get through the program from left to right and those main transition states. I've also included dates in here as well, so that people can see where things happen, where things should happen and when. And one of the other things that I do usually underneath this is start to describe the outcomes that must be true to enable you to enter in and the next phase and transition through the program. And this is a really useful tool because it can help to show a little bit of complexity and scale to the exec, but it also really helps everybody line up on what is super important. Sometimes we live in the world of having 2,000, 4,000 row project and program plans that are just too big. And so a critical path helps to simplify that. I often also overlay RAG and scenarios over the top of here. So as things start to move around, as things slip, then you can start to do simple scenario planning, and I've used that as a really common tool for describing what the impact of various events are and how you expect to be able to respond to them. So in Cope today, where I'm currently working, I've taken around 20 program plans and simplified them into a single critical path for delivering the digital transformation that they need. I've recently introduced this as a concept to the exec, and they're really starting to value it and grab hold of it and use it as a way of actually helping to drive conversations about what is important to them, and also to help drive supplier performance as well. So that's a great tool, very simple, and I'd encourage you to use it if you can. My final tip doesn't actually have a tool. It's just called making their lives easy. And this is what I think wholeheartedly the PMO leader should do when we're talking about projects and programs. Execs have to process hundreds of pieces of information every single day and make the right decisions in a timely manner to keep the business delivering on strategy. So if you do nothing else, if you don't remember anything that I've said earlier, then just concentrate on making the execs' lives easy. Do whatever you can do to help them understand, engage, and not to worry. Take the worry away from them by getting in front of problems and solving them before they get there. Make sure that you are proactive. Do what you say you're going to do. Establish regular drumbeats and reporting so that actually they get regular touch points with the right people and yourself, and they know what to expect. And when you're talking to them, don't just talk about successes. Don't just talk about failures. Get a blend between the two. And if you're talking about failures, always talk about lessons learned. Execs love to know what lessons you've learned along the way, because it helps to show that you're maturing as a team. Always be honest about where things are. Exec have this amazing ability to be able to go off and find those problems that you don't know exist, or to uncover slight untruths. So always be honest about where you are. And also, if you don't know something, don't be afraid to say you don't know and come back with an answer later. Earlier in my career, I used to try and make up where we were and try and have a fight with the exec about what is right and bits of data or information that I wasn't sure about. That was absolutely the wrong thing to do, and I've learned the hard way not to do that anymore. So the positive way to handle this, in my experience, is to say that you will come back with a qualified answer and just make sure that you do. And then finally, we all go into presentations, even today, thinking, actually, I know what people want to know, but sometimes you just don't. So if you're presenting on a new topic, or if you want to have a new conversation about something with your exec members, then take the time to ask the exec members beforehand, what are they expecting to get out of the conversation? You'll often find it's actually not what you thought you were going to talk about. And so by aligning up front on what they need to know and what their expectations of that session actually are, you can make sure you fulfill it, and they will see that as being a great value add session. If you start to do this and some of the other tips and tools that I brought along, then exec confidence will start to rise and engagement will improve. So to summarize, establish the golden thread from the work to strategy. Be the early warning system, spot stuff before they become a problem, and start to build out plans as to how they can be resolved. Help the execs to make the right decision by keeping things simple and clear and presenting a recommended option. Keep things simple by simplifying multi-row program and project plans into a simple flow chart so that they can understand where they are and can really interpret it. And above all, make their lives easy. This is what exec confidence really means. Build confidence through transparency, demonstrate value through measurable outcomes, be indispensable by partnering in success, not policing failure. When you do that, you stop being a reporting function and you become the executive's most trusted ally. Thank you. It's been great to share with you and discuss with you ideas as to how we can improve executive confidence and drive transformation in the real world. If you want to swap any ideas or explore how to build confidence in your own PMO, then please connect with me via LinkedIn or at Stratum IQ. I think there's now some time for some questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you so much, Nathan. There's actually no question, but I have some for you.
Okay.
Only one, but maybe one or two. And I took a screenshot of your presentation, the last one, where you were talking about building confidence, demonstrating value, and be indispensable. So based on that, and actually we are all talking about organization embracing AI, data-driven decision-making, and continuous transformation. So how should the PMO in this environment evolve to stay relevant and influential?
I'm sorry, you just cut out on the last question. How should they
evolve to stay relevant and influential?
Really great question. And PMOs need to evolve really to be that lighthouse of trusted information of what's going on across the organization. I think PMOs are in a unique position to be able to describe and understand what is going on across not only the delivery organization, but the whole organization as a whole, because transformation programs touch whole organizations. So that is something which helps the PMO stay really, really relevant and interconnected into the ecosystem of the exec leadership.
That is great. One more question, if you permit me.
Of course.
Okay, can you share an example of when your PMO successfully turned around executive skepticism into strong sponsorship, and what made the difference?
Yeah, in one of my previous roles, the delivery team had really lost credibility. They'd just been through a reorganization, and program and project delivery and product delivery had basically stopped. It was a painful situation because the company was highly ambitious in terms of what it wanted to do. And so it was a key point where the PMO actually can step in and help to bring that clarity. So we need to rebuild the delivery rhythm and prove the fact that actually they could deliver on the small goals that are coming through and that we had committed to. And that was the thing. It's just one conversation at a time. There's never any just one big thing that will turn around turn around those relationships and trust straight away. It's a series of small things, building up small trusted delivery, trusted pieces of data, demonstrating you can live up to the promise and think differently about how things can be done. And that, over a period of time, will get you to the point that your execs really trust you.
So, based on everything that you just said about building confidence, your answer about the AI situation or era that we are in, and the last question I ask you, what will be the only one piece of advice, only one, not two or three, only one that you will give the PMO looking to gain a permanent seat at a strategic table? Only one.
Only one.
Yeah.
Demonstrate how what the PMO team is delivering is helping the business move forward against its business strategy.
So do you think that um, any, like all PMOs should master then? Because to give that one advice, you probably took a lot in consideration. So do you think that they should master AI tools to be
Yeah,
able to?
yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot going on with AI at the moment, and indeed in some of the products which are out there to help project management at the moment, AI has been and is continuing to be introduced. The way I personally use AI is to help shortcut conversations and to build up models pulled from multiple different sources that I wouldn't usually have access to. I would encourage PMO members to actually do that. And also, one of the things that is obviously AI is great for is helping you to assimilate lots and lots and lots of data. And one of the things that I actually have done in previous roles recently is use AI to help interpret very lengthy PMO type status reporting. So 40 or 50, 60 pages worth of status reports, which have been produced by the PMO. It's really difficult for people to understand as a new person coming in. That's really hard. And so using the internal secure AI systems, usually Copilot, I ask them to interpret that for me. And that's something that can be really, really powerful, because what you can actually do as well is you can actually see the difference between what people think they are saying when they're giving you a narrative in a meeting and actually what the documentation is saying. And that helps you as PMO get a much more valid and balanced view.
So tell me, this is the last one, okay? Before I let you go, you are really, really full of knowledge. You know, a lot of people are afraid to lose their job. And as a BA project manager, I heard a lot. Oh, I'm afraid, and I don't know, should I not? Do you think that PMO leaders are afraid of losing their job? Because we are talking about confidence. We are talking about how they can gain that confidence and create their own seat at the table, or maybe not be bypassed, like no one is going to bypass them. So do you really think that in the long term, in the long run, PMO are going to lose their job? Like we won't have any PMO anymore, PMO leaders?
I think everybody's job is going to change, and indeed my job changes in the way that my job has changed in the last 2 years since the advent of AI. How I go about doing it is different. Do I think there will be no PMO? No. I think there will be more reliance on AI and data to pull unknown threads of information together and to do some of the heavy lifting. But actually, I think the thing, and this is the thing actually that I'm experiencing today in programs today, is there isn't as much true project and program management and PMO capability in system integrators or consultancies as there used to be. And so that means that programs are generally struggling. There's a few SMEs around, there's some functional experts, there's some technology experts, but on a massively large program, like some of the ones that I deal with, you need the people with the understanding of how to actually get on and deliver and bring this thing together as a program. And that can only be built up from years of experience. So I'm fairly confident that there will always be some variants of PMO and some PMO leaders. They will probably be more powerful than they are today because they will have the tools and the techniques and AI underpinning them to help their job be more successful. But it won't be doing the totality of the job. It will be there just as an aid to help their job do their job better than they currently are today. So it could be seen as actually being quite positive for the PMO teams.
So you know what, I completely agree with you, because for me, AI is actually an extension of human intelligence. So that is well said. Great.
Absolutely.
So that's it for today. Thank you so much, Nathan, Sir Nathan Tasker, to to have to present, like to talk about this very important topic, which is confidence. And see you next year if you want to,
Perfect.
for sure.
Thank you very much indeed, Sylvia. Thank you very much for asking some good questions. And if anybody's still online, thank you very much for listening. And I look forward to your feedback.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks then.